Going into the bottom of the 6th, this copyrighted telecast is authorized under rights granted by the New York Yankees solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publications, reproductions, retransmissions, or other use of pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and WPIX is prohibited.
Loaiza back on the mound to face Jorge Posada, Chad Curtis, and Scott Brocious, bottom of the 6th inning, all tied up at 5. Grounded to second base as the bat goes flying. McLemore over to Clark for the first out. And that'll bring up Chad Curtis. I think the bat actually went further than the ball in this one.
The bat may have gone harder than the ball, but that was a good sinking fastball down and away. Watch the ball down, and you see Rodriguez going outside the strike zone, and he has a toothpick left in his hand.
And that's how you know when somebody's sinker is working, when you see a lot of broken bats.
That or you got a bad piece of lumber.
Right, and that child has a little present, and he doesn't care if it's broken. That'll bring up Chad Curtis. High fly ball to the right fielder, Mike Sims. He camps under it for the second out of the inning. So 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th. That'll bring up Scott Brocious. And he has shown some very fancy leather this afternoon. There's the lefty, Eric Gunderson, and Tim Crabtree, the righty.
Susan, usually in a ball game, you'll have maybe 1 or 2 good plays. I already have 3 circled that Scott Brocious, the line drive off McLemore, and then the 2 fielding ground balls.
He gets to plays that most other third basemen just don't even get
Well,
near.
I think he just anticipates very well. That was the ball off McLemore. And then here is the ground ball. That was outstanding.
0-2 count to Scott Brocious. That's a little high for a ball. Brocious now batting .291, 14 homers and 74 RBIs. And he's been some addition to this team. There's a long fly ball to left field. Greer going back, and he does not make that catch. Bobby Kelly gets the ball. Brocious will stop at second. Right at the base of the wall, it looked like Greer just either tried to get it and hit the wall, or maybe thought it was a little higher, going to bounce a little higher off the wall than it actually did. Whatever, Scott Brocious winds up at second base. 2-out double for Brocious. And here comes Johnny Oates, and that's all for Loaiza.
You see Loaiza throwing that sidearm breaking ball and leaves it over the middle part of the plate. And Rusty Greer started his slide. Actually, it would have been better off if he just kept running. I think he thought he was closer to the wall than what he was.
Yeah, he actually looked like he had a glove on it, and he thought I think he did think he was closer to the wall than he actually was. Brocious running hard all the way. Now he sees that it lands, so he better even pick it up even more. We're all tied up at 5, and while we have this pitching change, we'll be right back after these messages. Relief, he will face Homer Bush. 2 out, Scott Brocious on second base. There's a foul back for a strike. Crabtree came over from Toronto, and in 60 innings pitched, he's given up 62 hits, 31 runs, 27 earned runs.
But the big thing is almost 30 walks in 60 innings, and that's 4.5 walks per 9. And out of the bullpen, that's hard to deal with.
And that was his problem in Toronto, was lack of control. 0-1 count to Homer Bush. Ground ball over to McLemore. That should do it. Over to Clark for the 3rd out. So Crabtree gets out of it. Brocious is left at second. So at the end of 6, 5-5, all tied up, Texas and the Yankees. Up here in the top of the 7th inning, and when in New York, stay at Shelburne Murray Hill, where you get a spacious suite for the price of an ordinary hotel room. Call 1-800-ME-SUITE. And a new pitcher for the New York Yankees, and that will be young Ramiro Mendoza. There are his numbers. He's 8-2 on the year, 3.40 ERA. So Loaiza and Wells are both gone, interestingly enough, 5-5, and 22 hits between the two teams, Tommy. Neither pitcher walked a soul.
Well, that's what we said at the start of the show. Both pitchers get the ball, they throw strikes, they pitch rapidly, and today was not a very good luck day. But they threw strikes. How pleasant is that?
And here's Bobby Kelly. He's got 2 home runs and a single, 3 RBIs, a 2-run homer in the 3rd, a solo shot in the 5th. Up to 317 now. David Wells threw 95 pitches. He went 6 innings, allowing 10 hits, 5 runs, walking no one, striking out 3, and 3 home runs. 1-1 count to Bobby Kelly from Mendoza. Over to Brocious. The grounder over to Tino Martinez for the first out, and that's the first time Bobby Kelly's been out today. As general manager Brian Cashman keeping score.
Keeping score, looking up statistics, figuring out how he can make this ball club better in the stretch run for the playoffs.
Jeff Nelson, by the way, had a little setback today. We haven't talked about that a lot because we talk about this bullpen as Rusty Greer takes a ball 1 from Ramiro Mendoza. You know, backs are a tricky thing. You're trying to come back from a back injury, no pun intended there. He was supposed to throw today off the mound. They shut him down. He's going to stay here and take more treatment, not go with the team, and they'll try him again in a few days. There's a high fly ball. Bernie Williams camping underneath that. And there's 2 gone here in the top of the 7th. And without Nelson, Ramiro Mendoza is in that spot right there. Mike Buddy did a terrific job yesterday, but they need Ramiro Mendoza now to be that right-handed setup man, so you're a little thin out there without Jeff Nelson.
Ramiro Mendoza will pitch better today than he did in the first 2 outings, simply because the last time he pitched was Andy Pettit's start last Sunday. Then he did not pitch for 5 days. He got in Andy Pettit's game again. And when you're a sinker ball pitcher, that's too much time off. You've got to get more throwing. The more he throws, the better his stuff will be, the better his location will be.
There's Andy Pettitte. Juan Gonzalez at the plate. 1-0 count to Gonzalez. Outside part of the plate, and he just smacks this into right field. O'Neill will pick it up, and Gonzalez is on with a single. Nice piece of hitting by Gonzalez outside part of the plate, and he went right with it.
He is so strong. You see that ball, they want it inside. Now, Mendoza missed about 2.5 feet. Posada was sitting inside. And you see, now that's not a classic way to hit. The back foot is up off the ground. But like I said, he is so strong, and he just reached out and raked it into right field.
And that'll bring up the veteran Will Clark. 2 out here in the top of the 7th inning. We're all tied up at 5, and there's a foul back. 5 runs, 11 hits for the Rangers, 5 runs, 12 hits for the Yankees. And Joe Torre said he wants the starters to keep them in the games. Well, he kept them in the game. It wasn't pretty, but we're all tied up. 1 strike count to Will Clark. There's 2 out here in the top of the 7th. Outside for a ball.
You know, the key, really, the key to throwing into your 7th and 8th inning. David Wells had 1 quick inning, and that was his last inning. 3 up, 3 down. Anytime before that, he had the 2nd inning. But you've got to have a couple of fast innings, Susan, especially on days like today.
Now, Ramiro Mendoza is doing just what he did the other day when everything is staying up in the zone. It's David Cone there in the Yankee bench. Joe Torre agreeing with us.
Well, he's got the earplug on the other ear tuned into our broadcast.
You think you know? Oh, I didn't know that.
You know, one of the things that when I'm working with pitchers, if they're throwing the ball up in the zone.
Grounder over to Jeter, over to Homer. Bush for the 3rd out as Bush gets out of the way of the sliding Juan Gonzalez. No runs. 1 person left at the end of 6.5, all tied up at 5. All tied up at 5. Susan Waltman and Tommy John here. Tim Crabb Crabtree in his second inning of relief. He will face Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, and Bernie Williams here in the bottom of the 7th. A lot of very creative signs here this year.
Do they have sign day here? I know
No, that's at Shea.
They had it over at
Shea.
At Shea.
Every day is sign day here.
I think that they could have something before the game here that would be absolutely something that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Okay, you're going to explain yourself here?
Oh, I just think that these people are so creative. You give them a chance to be...
See that little girl that says, "I love Derek Jeter," that sign? There was a woman yesterday as I came in. She was probably in her 40s. And the sign said, "Older women love Derek too." That's a great sign. Just standing there proudly. Derek Jeter will lead off this inning. 2-run homer in the first and a double in the third. He's now batting .327 as he takes a ball inside. Batting .327, 15 homers, 63 RBIs. One and 0 the count to Derek Jeter. Foul back.
You know, Derek has... Bobby alluded to it. He said, you know, he's just going to put up numbers that are going to be so hard to repeat. And that's the sad thing. When you're so good, so young, people expect you to hit 18, 20 home runs every year, and that might be not the norm.
Fouled off the side, strike 2. He just wants to get better and better, period. I mean, he just wants to improve. If the home runs are there, that's fine. If they're not, that's fine with him, too.
I think the biggest thing for a batter like Derek hitting second is being able to put the bat on the ball solidly almost every at bat, where you hit a line drive or a hard ground ball or a just miss.
1 and 2 the count, and that's low for a ball. See, right there is where Jeter has improved this year as we look at the Toyota box score. Look at the top of the order. All the hits, 2, 4, 6, 8 hits in the top 4 batters in this lineup. Ambrosius with 2 hits down to the bottom. 2 and 2 the count, and he smacks this into right field for a single. So 3 hits on the afternoon as Derek Jeter leads off the bottom of the 7th with a single to right.
And that was a good job of hitting. The ball was down. You see Rodriguez on the outside corner. The ball was right where he wanted it. And Derek Jeter did exactly what you're supposed to do. Hit the ball the opposite way and don't try to turn the ball or try to hit it into left field.
Not try to pull that ball. Just go right with it.
If you try to pull it, it's going to be probably a ground ball to the shortstop.
And here comes Johnny Oates. There goes Tim Crabtree. We will be back with a pitching change. Eric Gunderson will be coming in from the bullpen. All tied up at 5. We'll be right back. Ford, Hunter, Gossage, Nettles, and many more all-time Yankee greats. The New York Yankees Fantasy Camp, January 16 to 22nd, 1999, at the Yankees Spring Training Home, Legends Field in Tampa, Florida. Age 30 or older only. Space is limited. $4,295. Proceeds benefit the Yankee Foundation. Call 1-800-368-CAMP. Eric Gunderson on in relief of Tim Crabtree, who is on in relief of Loaiza. ERA of 4.33, 15 walks, 30 strikeouts. You like that ratio, Tommy John?
You like that, and you like the walks, but you don't like the hits. And you don't like the 4.33, but that could be, out of the bullpen, that could be one bad game.
Right. Veteran lefties been around. Pitch for the Mets, pitch for the Red Sox, now with the Texas Rangers.
Saturday, Eric Gunderson came into the ball game and for the 5th time this season failed to retire a batter.
And he'll face Paul O'Neill as his first batter. There's ex-Yankee coach Eddie Napoleon trying to get the attention of the outfielders, trying to move him around. He's moving Mike Sims over a little bit. Paul O'Neill batting .317, 18 homers, 88 RBIs. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. Fly ball Rusty Greer calling off Bobby Kelly. Now Bobby Kelly's going to take it, and there's the first out. Bobby Kelly and Rusty Greer having a little problem there, I think, with the sun.
And that ball was, Paul was upset because that ball was right down Broadway, or maybe even Fifth Avenue, but it was right down the heart of the plate, and all Paul did, he just missed it, pulled off the ball and popped up.
So Jeter still at first base. There's one out here. That'll turn Bernie Williams around. Batting from the right side. He's 2 for 3 this afternoon, batting .351, 17 homers, 66 RBIs. And that's outside for a ball breaking pitch. 1-0. Bernie struck out this afternoon, has 2 singles. Throw over just to make sure that Jeter wasn't going to take off.
That was a slide step to first base. If you want to pick somebody off, you got to try to make them think you're going to throw the ball home. If you go over there so fast, you don't give them a chance to make a mistake.
1-2 pitch up. 2-0 to Bernie Williams. I think he was just letting Derek know that he knew he was there.
Just gave him his calling card. Eric Andrew Gunderson, left-handed pitcher. Here's my card.
2-0 the count to Bernie Williams. One out here, bottom of the 7th, all tied at 5. Bernie swings at a ball. Strike 1. Now that was actually out of the strike zone, not a pitch that Bernie should have swung at.
That was a good sinking fastball. Watch Gunderson's right or left wrist. You see how he hooks the ball? A lot of pitching coaches say that's a no-no. We had a couple here with the Yankees. Sammy Ellis and Mark Connor absolutely just hated to see a pitcher what they call arm hook, and that's an arm hook because if you noticed, he really had to rotate his arm up and get it into the throwing position.
Does that hurt the control? Is that part of that?
I think you have a tendency to get underneath the ball and throw flat sinkers.
2-1 count. That is up over the plate and into center field, and Bobby Kelly bobbles it, and Jeter's going to third base. Everybody's safe. Great piece of hitting by Bernie Williams. Ball up over the plate. Bernie just smacked it to center field. And as soon as Derek Jeter, Tommy, saw that hesitation, he took off at third base.
You see the ball, that was a little above belt high. And Bernie just whistled it out into center field. And that ball took a bad bounce on Kelly. And he did a good job of just keeping it in front of him. And Derek Jeter did not slow down at all, and Bobby Kelly gets an error on that.
But that's one thing about this Yankee team. As soon as Jeter saw out of the corner of his eye that he had trouble with that ball, he took off for third base. That's why this team wins a lot. That's one of the reasons. That'll bring up Tino Martinez, batting .294, 18 homers, 94 ribbies. One out, men on first and third, all tied up at 5, bottom of the 7th. There's a strike. 0-1 to Tino. Now, what is he trying to do to these lefties, to both O'Neill and to Tino? I mean, he doesn't have hard stuff. It's not like he can blow anybody away.
I think you've got to pitch. If I'm inside his head, I've got to throw the ball away and try to get them to hit it to the big part of the ballpark.
Now, he just did that. Now, you tell me what this is. Look where Rodriguez is setting up.
Right.
He's on the other side of the plate.
That's right. And that's where I would try to throw the ball away, away, away. And if Tino Martinez is going to hit it, he's going to hit it out into left center field, or he's got to go out and try to hook the ball into the right field corner. But don't give any left-handed hitter in this ballpark, if you're a left-handed pitcher, inside pitch. Because the first thing, most left-handed hitters in this ballpark when you kind of drop down from the left side, they'll kind of open up anyway. So when you open up and you throw the ball inside, it's right down almost the middle of the plate. I've got it right there, away, and pitch out there.
0-2 the count. He missed low at that breaking pitch for a ball. Also, he's on the other side of the plate. Doesn't that expand the strike zone more than, because the umpire looks down and there's the catcher and he's hitting the glove?
Well, if the umpire is inclined to call the ball 6 inches off the plate, but Larry Young, the home plate umpire, has a pretty tight strike zone.
1-2 the count to Tino Martinez. There's a grounder over to McLemore. One, back to first, double play. And they get out of it. Gunderson does what he's supposed to do, gets the double play. So at the end of 7 innings, Bobby Mercer comes back. We're all tied up at 5.
We are all tied at 5. 25 base hits in this game combined between Texas and New York. Ivan Rodriguez leads it off for Texas. He'll be followed by Todd Zeile and Mike Sims. Ramiro Mendoza, who came in the 7th, starts Rodriguez off with a called strike. Whoever thought we would have 25 hits through 7 innings in this game between David Wells and Mike Loaiza?
You got two pitchers that throw strikes and the 2 best hitting teams in the American League.
Say no more. That's fouled off to the right side, and it's no balls and 2 strikes to Rodriguez.
But you know one good thing, and Susan and I were talking about it, neither pitcher in their time in the game walked a batter. They got the ball and they threw strikes. And when you face good hitters, this is the big leagues, you're going to give up some base hits.
Well, you got 8 of the guys out there that try to catch the ball and are pretty darn good at it, including this guy right here, Derek Jeter. So Rodriguez has gone, 1 out here in the 8th for Texas. Now let's check out our Wiz out-of-town scores. And in the American League, it's a final in Detroit. They are victorious. 6-3 Minnesota now over Boston in the 9th, and Anaheim has lost to Toronto, so this game here really becomes a big game for Texas. They can reclaim the lead in the West if they beat the Yankees. Now in the National League, Montreal losing to Cincinnati 8-1, Pittsburgh 3-1 over St. Louis, and Philadelphia shutting out Colorado in the 3rd. Wait till that air gets a hold of some of those baseballs. Todd Zeile takes a call strike from Mendoza. Zeile is 0 for 3. In fact, he worked David Wells over with all those fouls back into the stands as he tried to stay alive against Wells. They eventually flied out all 3 times. So it's a 1-1 count now to Todd Zeile, the Ranger third baseman. Well, this is the final game of this 4-game series. It's the final game of this homestand before the Yankees head off for Kansas City after today's game, Monday and Tuesday. Now the lefty Mike Stanton begins to warm up for Joe Torre. Couple of 2-game sets coming up. You know, the players, that's the thing that they've been complaining about because of the interleague play is the fact that they go in only for 2 games. It's 2 games in Kansas City, 2 games in Minnesota, and then they finish up on the road. 3 games in Texas. That got in on the hands of Zeile, so Brocious will throw him out, and there's 2 gone.
Bobby, if I'm a ball club facing teams like the Yankees and the Braves, I would welcome a 2-game series. you
Based on their percentages, right?
That's exactly right.
And the way they played against Minnesota, too. In Kansas City. And Mike Sims, who is also 0 for 3 in this game. He had 4 RBIs for Texas in that rout yesterday against New York. And hit the longest home run in 1998 here at the stadium in left center field. Strike 1 to Mike Sims. Mendoza has faced 6 batters, and 5 of the 6 have hit it on the ground. Let's flash back to Mike Sims and that home run we were talking about here in left center field at Yankee Stadium. This was yesterday. It took a long time for that ball to come down, and when it did, it knocked down, I think, some of the tomato plants that are way out beyond the 399 side in left center field. That pitch just missing. Now it's 1-2. That's not tomato plant, so is it?
It looks like Swiss chard.
What?
I don't know what it is, but it doesn't look like tomato plants.
Well, they used to grow tomatoes here. This is a high fly tomato. And Homer Bush is going to take over. So a can of corn for him with a little tomato sauce on the side. Yankees go 1, 2, 3. And it's still 5-5. Yankee Stadium. Let's take a look at the game summary brought to you by the WB11. And it's Rangers 5 and the Yankees 5. New York with a 2-run shot off of Derek Jeter's bat. Puts them out in front 2-0. Strawberry also added a solo home run. And then the Rangers come back with some home runs of their own in the 4th and 5th inning. And the Yankees finally tied it up in the 5th. So that's where we're at right now, 5-5, with the Yankees coming to bat here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Tim Raines was announced into the game as a pinch hitter for Darryl Strawberry, and that's going to send Johnny Oates to the mound, and we probably will have a pitching change once again. It will be a pitching change. Gunderson, who is the left-handed specialist for Johnny Oates, out of his bullpen. He comes in and does the job, and he is gone now. Another pitching change here at Yankee Stadium. So we'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. Bottom of the 8th, and we have a pitching change leading off this inning for New York. And we will take a look at the American League West, and Anaheim losing today. And Texas coming into this game a half a game back of Anaheim. If they win this afternoon, they'll reclaim the lead in that shootout in the West. Of course, the Yankees will have something to say about that as they come to bat. Danny Patterson will be the new pitcher, TJ.
Danny Patterson pitched yesterday, the 15th of August. And you see right there, 1-4, 3.71 ERA. Danny Patterson, in his last 3 outings, he's had 3 2/3 scoreless innings. But he's also had, in his last 11 contests, 3 home runs.
Eddie Napoleon there with his glasses on and checking out the infield.
And right below him, Russell Earl, Bucky Dent.
Mr. Bucky Dent, as Tim Raines batting for Strawberry, takes the first pitch up high for a ball.
Yeah, I don't understand the Gunderson to Patterson, because all you're doing is turning Tim Raines from the right-handed side to the left-handed side. I think he's got more pop on the left side than when you bat him right-handed.
And then you got Posada that's coming up behind Raines, also a switch hitter. Has good pop and maybe more pop from the left side. Hits this one hard and over the head of McLemore to right field. There has not been a hotter hitter for New York than Tim Raines in the last week or so.
Boy, he's got a good swing from the left side. Watch this ball right down the middle of the plate, and Tim just centered the ball right on the bat, right on the sweet spot. I don't care how high Mark McLemore can jump, it couldn't get that ball. Boy, that was good hitting right there, good form, head down.
All right, Joe Torre's in the bottom of this Yankee order. This is Posada, nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th, all tied up at 5. We'll see what Joe Torre and the Yankees want to do in this situation.
Well, Todd Zeil's pulling in, expecting a bunt.
There is no bunt. It's swung on in line, and it's a fair ball off the glove of Clark. It's going to be ruled a ground rule double. The Yankees will have runners at second and third, and nobody out. I mean, that was a shot. And now you got to go back to TJ, to the point that you brought up. Johnny Oates took Gunderson out of the game and turned the switch hitters around to bat left-handed.
They turn the switch hitters around. Posada's got great pop from the left side. You'll see right here. He just hit a screamer. Will Clark jumped for it. Now the ball hit his glove. You'll see right here, Will jumped and the ball hit his glove. He was in fair territory, which means the ball is fair. And then you saw the umpires holding their hands up. That meant fan interference. A fan down there reached over and caught the ball. With runners on second and third now, Texas got to play their infield in to try to cut the runoff at the plate. Well, Danny Patterson's come in and throwing a couple of rockets, but the other night he came in and got 3 outs and almost had some infielders knocked over. The balls were hit so hard.
All right, Chad Curtis will try to break this tie with nobody out. Second and third for New York. Curtis 0 for 3. And the fastball outside for a ball.
Here's where a hitter has to be very, very, very patient and let the pitcher get himself into trouble where he's got to come to you, and don't swing at that first pitcher's pitch.
That's another pitch inside. Ball 2, 2-0. Well, the infield is in, but T.J. Clayton at shortstop, he's pretty far back at short, and so is McLemore at second if they're going to try to cut this run off. I mean, there's no double play in order.
I think Royce Clayton thinks he's still in St. Louis on the turf.
We don't have any artificial surface here. And that's a pitch inside, ball 3, 3-0. So Patterson is one pitch away from loading it up for New York.
I don't understand that pitching change, and I don't understand the defense of playing him back unless Patterson is going to try to pitch around and walk Curtis.
Curtis swinging on a 3-0 pitch, and he pops it behind home plate, and Rodriguez will run out of room. How about that? Hey, when you've got guys that can swing the bat and you got guys that are very patient at home plate, why not give him the 3-0 hit sign, especially with runners at second and third? Give him a chance to pick his own pitch to drive. That's what Joe Torre did there.
Absolutely, and that pitch was right down the middle of the plate, and Chad Curtis just fouled it back. Don't see many catchers wearing sunglasses, but on these bright days, you see more and more of them in these days of multiple lens sunglasses.
And the 3-1 pitch found out of play. Now it's 3-2 to Curtis. Curtis with 50 RBIs on the year. Be a great time for Chad Curtis to join that multiple figures at home run with 8 of his other fellow guys here on this ball club.
I think Chad Curtis will take, he'll join the 51 RBI club right now.
Yeah.
Just nice little fly ball to right center field.
I'm in on the 3-0 pitch.
Oh, yeah. Screw that one in. Yeah.
Swing and a miss on a good pitch from Danny Patterson, striking out Chad Curtis. What a comeback for Patterson after falling behind 3-0.
You have to say this for Patterson. He didn't lose the ability to throw a strike. At 3-0, he came back and challenged Curtis. Boom, boom, 2 foul balls, and then threw a slider on the inside half of the plate, and Curtis swung through it for strike 3.
I'll be a little bit surprised if they don't walk Brocious to load the bases up here. Chad Curtis sitting on the Yankee bench, and here comes Bosman. The reason I say that is it doesn't look like Knobloch can hit and play today. We don't know that for a fact. Homer Bush hasn't had that many plate appearances, even though he's got speed. To walk the bases loaded, try to make at least a force play or get the double play, get out of it. Here at the bottom of the 8th inning seems like a better percentage, I would think.
I would like to see him load the bases up. I'll tell you why. I think Homer Bush is a better bunter than anybody here, and I think that with Homer up and he doesn't have the experience, you put yourself into possibly a squeeze play. And I know squeeze play is one of the worst plays in baseball, but when you got a young hitter up, and I was watching Homer in batting practice, and he was bunting more and more, but bunted about 4 or 5 pitches, where most of the guys just bunt 2, but Homer bunted a few more pitches. See there, Homer's talking with Chris Chambliss and Jeter, the rest of the coaching staff.
Well, it looks like they will pitch to Brocious. And that pitch down low and inside with that split-fingered fastball that Danny Patterson has. Well, he's a 9th place hitter. That's one thing, but he also has 74 RBIs. I think that also makes a statement for Scott Brocious. And if they are pitching around him, it's a heck of a way to pitch around a guy with 74 RBIs. I would rather not take the chance and do that.
That's the one thing in baseball that I absolutely hated, was they say pitch around, because what it does, it puts the monkey on Danny Patterson's back. If you don't want Brocious to hit the ball, go out and say 4, walk him intentionally.
Now it's ball 3.
Well, he was 3 balls, no strikes on Chad Curtis, and came back and challenged him 3-0, 3-1, and then threw an inside slider that he swung through and missed.
Well, I would say if Chad Curtis had the green light 3-0, he certainly will give Brocious the green light 3-0. He was swinging 3-0. Of course, it was one of those split-fingered fastballs, better known as the Vulcan splitter, from Danny Patterson.
That sounds like something out of Darth Vader's arsenal. But if you're going to challenge somebody, you're better off doing that 3-0, 3-1, than just come right down the heart of the plate. And Joe Torre has enough confidence in his hitters to give him the green light 3-0.
And that 3-0, 3-1 pitch inside ball 4, so it is. The bases loaded for the New York Yankees with less than 1 out. That'll bring up Homer Bush. That's the first walk given up today by either side in this game.
The infielders are looking in to the bench to see what they want him to do. Usually in a bases loaded, second and short will move back and play halfway to try to get out of it, but they're going to be up on the grass because they know if they're back with Homer Bush's speed, they might not get him at first base.
And the pitch is foul back and out of play. So Homer expecting Danny Patterson to try to get that first ball in there for a called strike. He was ready for it. The Yankees had a great opportunity back in the 8th inning, the 7th inning, to score and take the lead, except the double play wiped that out. Now Patterson in front 0-2 with that foul back and out of play.
Homer was really anxious that time, Bobby. That was a split finger that I believe had he taken the ball, it would have come close to hitting him. But that's what happens when you get a young batter up there that does not have a lot of at-bats in the big leagues. You want to drive the runs in. And there were some hitters that you would rather see come to the plate with runners in scoring position than if they were much worse hitters. They swung at all kinds of things trying to drive the runs in.
Swing and a foul ball, and that caught Willie Randolph. Boy, that got a sting. Willie said, let's go. Come on. If you're going to hit that ball hard, keep it fair. That we want it fair. Glad to see Willie smiling because I know that hurt. That hurt. Man.
He's laughing on the outside, and he's wincing on the inside.
Is he ever? I mean, I don't see how in the world more third base coaches don't get hit because they are so close to the action. And most of the time they are watching the runners and not even watching the hitter. Popped him up into shallow right field. Coming on his Sims, going back is McLemore, and it's going to be McLemore. His back was turned to the play, and he hurries the ball back into the infield, and Raines will hold at third. It looked for a moment like it was going to fall in between McLemore and Sims.
But that was one of those plays that had that ball fallen in, and the reason McLemore has to make this great play, they're playing in on the edge of the infield grass, and he makes an outstanding over the shoulder. Then watch him slip and get right in and get up. But had that ball fallen in, they would have had, like Juan Gonzalez the other night, they would have had a forced play at second base.
Now with 2 gone, Derek Jeter will step in for the Yankees and try to break this tie up here in the bottom of the 8th. If Patterson gets out of this one, it will be a huge escape for him.
Bigger escape than one of Houdini's best.
You'll have to get by those numbers there with Jeter with the bases loaded. Jeter today is 3 for 4, including that home run. And he taps this with a zeal. And the Rangers will get out of it here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Nice job done by Danny Patterson. We're still tied at 5. Ball is sponsored by the Toyota Camry, the #1 selling car in America. Toyota every day. Based on the R&L Polk 1997 total passenger car registration. And by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. And by The Wiz. For total entertainment, nobody beats The Wiz, a Cablevision company. Boy, back-to-back innings for the New York Yankees, TJ, when they had runners at third base with less than 2 outs and couldn't score.
And when the Yankees were hot and they were doing all those things, that was an easy, maybe a large inning. I mean, that was yeah. And here they came in, and Danny Patterson did an outstanding job. And now we got Mariano Rivera, something that you don't see. Usually a save situation, but Joe Torre had him up in anticipation of getting the lead in the bottom of the 8th, and instead of sitting him down, they brought him into the ball game. Now, the last time he has pitched was the 13th against Texas. He got the save that night, but he had not pitched before that in 4 or 5 days. So Rivera is out there to get a workout, but also to keep the team to keep the score at 5-5.
And Royce Clayton will be the first batter for Texas here in the 9th inning. He'll be followed by McLemore and Roberto Kelly. And he hits it hard, but there is Homer Bush to grab it. 1 pitch, 1 out.
You know, Bobby, one of the things that happens when your starting pitching does such a good job game after game after game after game, the relievers don't get a lot of chances to throw the ball. And that pitch right there was inside half of the plate, and Royce Clayton really spanked it.
Homer Bush a little bit upset with himself for not driving in that run. He's going to do everything he can to keep somebody else from getting a base hit. This is McLemore. McLemore is 0 for 4. Inside, ball 2, 2-0. And like the Yankees, when we get to this part of the game, that's John Wetland now beginning to warm up for Texas. So if they take the lead here in the 9th inning, you will see John Wetland in the bottom of the 9th. That's in there for a call strike. Managers don't like to get guys up in the bullpen unless they bring them in the game. It's almost like a wasted time for them because they throw a lot of pitches. They get prepared to come into the game. 2-2 now to McLemore. So most of the time, and I would think, you know, Mariano got up in the 8th inning thinking that they were going to score. Just missing down low. Now it's 3-2.
You don't want to waste your relievers' bullets on the practice range in the bullpen. You want them to bring them to the mound.
A line drive, base hit up the middle. So a 1-out single for McLemore, his first hit of the game. Now we've had 28 hits of the game combined.
Boy, a fastball right down the middle of the plate, but that's what you've got to throw at 3-2 right there. Look at that. The ball was down below his knees. And Mark McLemore scalded it up the middle. And now we have Tom Goodwin, Bobby, batting for Bobby Kelly.
Goodwin with good speed, batting .293. No power at the plate, but a very difficult duo to double up in case Mariano can induce him to hit the ball on the ground.
Well, he's a good handler of the bat, and you may see a little play put on here by by John Oates if the count gets into the batter's favor.
Up high for a ball. Now it's 2-0. The Yankees went to the bullpen yesterday a few times. High and inside, ball 3. So Rivera has fallen behind the count, 3-0 with 1 out and a man on. Down low, ball 4. Now Texas with runners at first and second. And good speed on the base pass. Well, it took Danny Patterson to break up the no walk rule. And since that time, we've had 2 in about an inning. That's after all these pitchers going through all these hitters without walking anybody.
Now here's where Texas is really tough. They've got Greer, Gonzalez, Clark, Rodriguez, Zeal, and this is where if you are not careful, all of a sudden you can go boom, 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 and you can have a lot of runs scored on you.
Well, that was a boom that didn't have any boom to it. Greer is 2 for 4 with a couple of singles.
Yeah, the thing about Mariano is he's not, when he's wild, he's not like all over the place. He's just low, he's just high, he's just inside. For somebody that throws the ball as hard as he does, he really has excellent control, and he knows where his release point is. That if he's high on one hitter, then he just holds on to it. Oh, right there. He was high. The next pitch, I will guarantee you, will be in the lower part of the strike zone.
Okay.
That he makes adjustments. Mark that down.
All right, that's a guarantee coming up right now. First guarantee that TJ has given us this year on a 1-2 count. And it was high. The guarantee was lost, but it comes up a winner for Mariano in a strikeout. 2 gone.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't say my money back guarantee, but that was a high fastball that Rusty Greer must have been listening to me, thinking the ball was going to be down, and that was a high. Looked like the way he released the ball, it looked like he was trying to throw the cutter into him.
So a big strikeout for Rivera. And that will bring up Juan Gonzalez, who has somewhat broken out of his slump here. He's 2 for 4. And another pitch up high. Now, one thing that Gonzalez hasn't done against the Yankees in this 4-game series, that he hasn't picked up an RBI, so they've held him in check.
The times that Gonzalez has hit the ball today, the balls have been down and out over the plate. And I'm wondering if they want to throw him up and in.
Well, another pitch up, and it's ball 2, 2-0. Mariano has made that adjustment from sun-up man for John Wetland to a John Wetland type closer. That's way high and inside, and that'll get Juan Gonzalez's attention. I mean, those 3 pitches weren't even close to the strike zone.
Well, he's trying to throw him up and trying to throw him in.
Well, he got the job done there.
That was up and in. And that hopefully there Gonzalez will get back on his heels just a little bit, but I really don't think so.
Well, he still has to make a quality pitch at 3-0 to Gonzalez. Will Clark is on deck. I think that shook Gonzalez up a bit. It's taking him a little bit longer to get back into the batter's box. He's ready. And another pitch up high, and it's ball 4. The bases are loaded for Texas. And that will bring Mel Stottlemyre out of the Yankee dugout as Will Clark comes to the plate.
I know this sounds crazy, but you got to realize who's saying it. That may have been a pitch around. Now you're saying, well, you've got Will Clark, who's got a bunch of RBIs also, who's a veteran hitter. I just wonder in Mariano's mind if he did not want Gonzalez, did not want him to hit the ball and beat him in the ball game. That if you're going to have somebody beat you in the ball game, it's not going to be Juan Gonzalez. Will Clark might get a base hit and drive in too, but you don't want Gonzalez to beat you in a ball game.
Well, Gonzalez is on, and Will Clark is at the plate, and Clark is 0 for 4. And the first pitch in there for a called strike. So Gonzalez took ball 4 when Mariano couldn't find the strike zone to him, and first pitch strike to Clark, though. And that pitch fouled out of play, and it's a no ball, 2 strike count to Clark. With 2 outs, bases loaded here at the top of the 9th.
Boy, that's just a good fastball that Will Clark could not catch up to. I mean, a good fastball and to a good fastball hitter. Trying to think who threw him the other night a fastball up and out over the plate, and you could see Will Clark probably with that left hand get out there and really turn that bat over and drove a single right up the middle.
50,304 on hand this afternoon. They want the strikeout, and they won't get it. It's a little looper to Jeter. And one hopped him, but he throws Clark out at first base. It looked like an innocent play, but it was a hard play. Jeter makes it, and we are tied. The heart of the Yankees coming up. All right, bottom of the 9th coming up. We are all tied at 5, and this is the last out in the top of the 9th for the Rangers.
And Bobby, really, I think Mariano wanted to face Will Clark with the bases loaded rather than give in to Juan Gonzalez, because he does not have that bad a control. That was very good pitching by Mariano Rivera.
Well, good pitching by Rivera in the 9th. Good pitching by Danny Patterson for Texas in the 8th inning against the New York Yankees. But Patterson now is gone, and Texas has gone to the bullpen again.
Xavier Hernandez coming in. He has not allowed an earned run in his last 9 outings, or 12 2/3 innings pitched. And he's posted a 0.65 ERA in his last 20 games. He's got the 6th best earned run average for American League relievers. It used to be with the Yankees, and now he's down in the Texas Rangers.
So he will be facing Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams, and Tino Martinez. Now you might say, well, why would Johnny Oates bring a right-hander in to face the left-handed batters? Well, that's all he's got in the bullpen, for one thing. The other thing is that Hernandez, he's got the 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but he's got the split finger that goes down and away, and it's a very tough pitch for a left-handed bat.
Bobby, right-handers that have a good split, I think they're better off at times pitching against left-handers than they are right-handed hitters.
That's down low, ball 2. Well, the New York Yankees, one of these 3 could really make Babe Ruth happy in his legacy here at Yankee Stadium as they celebrate the 50th anniversary of his death. He's been known and was known as the Sultan of SWAT here at Yankee Stadium, and a home run in this situation here wins it for New York. The 1-ball, 2-strike count to O'Neill. O'Neill couple of harmless base hits on the infield, but they all count. He's 2 for 4. There's that split finger, and you can see just how far out in front O'Neill was.
Well, that was nasty. Wow.
A split-fingered fastball became the designer pitch of the 90s. Bruce Sutter was the guy that actually invented it, or made it famous, I guess you would say.
You saw how much O'Neill, but the ball was going away from him, and Paul really had to almost walk on the plate.
And a split finger again down low at ball 2. This 4-game total between Texas and the Yankees has drawn 203,803 for a total attendance. And that's a swing and a miss, and it's a strike 3. First out for New York in the 9th.
And that's what that splitter does. It gets you leaning out over the plate, and then Hernandez just threw a good 90-mile-an-hour fastball by you up and in. And you could see where the ball was when Paul's swing went through the zone. He was not on that ball. It was by him.
So that brings up Bernie Williams. Hernandez has given up 3 home runs this year. Dandy of a splitter there.
Did you ever hit off Sutter?
No, I played with him. I didn't have to hit off of it.
That's as close as you wanted.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't really throw his split finger as hard and as fast as these players do today. High and deep to right field. This is gone. The Yankees will win it. Thank you, Babe Ruth and Bernie Williams. The Yankees win it with 1 out here in the 9th, 6-5. Bernie Williams with his 18th home run of the year, and what a day Bernie has had. That's his 4th hit. He was 4 for 5 in a dramatic win at Yankee Stadium to close out this homestand. And the Yankees now go to 48-9 here at Yankee Stadium in 1998. And once again, 60 games over 500.
Bobby, you live with the splitter and you die with the splitter. And Hernandez came in and threw the ball low and in. And we said, how many times do left-handed hitters love the ball low and in? And you don't throw it to good hitters, and Bernie Williams is a good hitter.
Well, on the 50th anniversary of this Babe Ruth story that has been told for many, many years around here, the Yankees hit 3 home runs in this game. And they came in dramatic portion. And the biggest one comes from Bernie Williams to win it for the Yankees here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Here's the pitch. Watch the ball down and in. Rodriguez was going a little bit away, and Hernandez threw the ball down and in. And that is death if you're a pitcher throwing to a left-handed hitter, especially here in the stadium.
And what a series it was for New York. They defeat the Rangers in this 4-game series 3 out of 4. But they also drew over 200,000 fans here at Yankee Stadium during this 4-game series. That's it from Yankee Stadium. The final score, once again, the Yankees 6 and the Rangers 5. Please join us again Thursday at 8 o'clock as the Yankees play their final game this season against the Minnesota Twins. Now please stay tuned for the Young Guns.